What's up, everyone? Today we have an Echo PB-580T that doesn't run. However, it's not for the reason why you're thinking. Kind of. It's not because of carburetor, but it is something to do with the fuel delivery. And here's the thing. Usually when you have a gasoline engine, you need a flow of gasoline. And that's not happening. So we have a problem. So what we need to do is we need to take off the carburetor cover, take a look and see. I don't remember if that is the return. If it is, it should be really simple. If it's the actual fuel line, then we'll have to replace it. And of course, who knows, maybe there's carb work. There's always going to be carb work probably, but let's go ahead and give this a quick look-see and see what happens. While I do this, let's have a conversation about what this does. So one of these lines draws fuel in, and then the motion of the engine causes pressure to go into the carb. That pressure moves a fuel pump of sort and pumps the fuel up into the engine, where it's continuous. It's always going to be doing that, so it needs to take out the excess that doesn't consume and put it back. So they put a return back into the tank, so it's always moving fuel around. The concern is that if it is the return, you're just going to be dumping raw fuel on the concrete or grass or dirt. That's actually not that bad, or wherever. And that's, besides not a good thing, it's just plain old wasteful. So looks like we have a couple hex bolts in there. Let's get those taken off. Let's take a look here. I think this is a T25, or it could be 15. Yeah, T25. Horrible with the T series. Okay, what do we have here? Good, also a way to check and see is if you see a fuel line in there with the fuel filter. I cannot. It is fully fueled, however. I suppose we could just do it this way too. Carb may fall off, but yeah, that's the return line. Okay, so it broke. The fuel line actually feels really good. This is what we're gonna do. We're gonna take the mounting screws and put them back in here, just so if it does get a little wobbly, it's not going to rip out the good fuel line. This fuel in here is kind of questionable, though. I don't know. We might be taking it out and examining it, but here's the thing. The course of action I'm going to take on that is this. I'm going to fix the given problem, then see if it runs. If it runs good, maybe the fuel line just looks bad, or excuse me, the fuel just looks bad, but actually isn't. That's not long enough. And I'm not in the business of wasting money on stuff that doesn't need to be done. If this is good fuel, it's still good fuel. Let's take a look at this fuel line actually, or this return line. It could be about the same. Because one of the things about this is if it is good, and I discard it and I just put new fuel in there, I have to offset that cost to the person that owns this. And who knows? Maybe, like I said, it is still good. go. Oh, that's hard as a rock. Yeah. Something I do like to do, what I'm going to do now, is I like to take a torch and just kind of get this warm, because it's about 27 degrees outside and my garage is not heated, so it's probably only a few degrees warmer than that, if any warmer, because the garage door is open for a decent amount of time. This fuel line, even though it's new, it's not very pliable. I'm going to get it warm so it's easier to install. I'm going to go ahead and do that real quick. And when you do stuff like that, be mindful that you're not burning it, you're just getting it warm. If you're using propane, it's a whole lot easier. If you're using MAP gas, it's not as easy, but you can do it. Just make sure you just keep it far enough away. If you're using acetylene, I really have to question why you're using acetylene. Yeah, there's no need for that. You could even go inside, take a lighter, or if you smoke, just take it out of your pocket. You know, whatever you want to do. I prefer just taking propane, like a little torch, and getting it nice and warm. Propane doesn't burn very hot. And I have canisters of it. Now we have that. There is no fuel filter on a return, so we don't have to worry about it. We don't want it to be too short because we might run into a problem of it coming out. But at the same time, we don't want it super long. We're just having like just giant amounts of fuel line everywhere. This is going to make our life a little easier. I cut this at an angle. That way it's easier to insert. If this grommet is no good, we'll probably end up having to replace it along with the fuel lines, but it seems like it's pretty decent so far. I just think this either fell out or broke off. I think it fell out. I just don't know if it was just too short to begin with. Who knows? But like I said, this is... So that brings up a good thing too. There's a difference between soft and pliable and squishy and spongy. If it kind of just feels just gummy almost, that's not good. It may still be soft, but you don't want gummy. You want soft and pliable. You don't want gummy or gooey. So that's a big importance right there. And this is not gummy or gooey. Primer bulb seems to be working just fine. Doesn't appear to be in poor condition either. So I think we're safe on that one. I think we will take these screws out. The carb probably will fall off, but I'm not pulling on the fuel line anymore, so even if it does, we can just put it back on pretty easily. I know I say this all the time, and I know not everyone has access to it, but if you do have any possibility, even if it's a long drive, if you live anywhere near a coastal area, they usually have non-ethanol fuel. Mainly because of boaters and mariners and whatnot. Wait, is the choke broken on this? Huh. Yes. Yes, it is. That was not me either. Okay. Well. Interesting. I don't know if I have another one of those. Let me do a quick little search. Little status update. I do not have another one. This is a very common piece to break, so that's probably why I probably swiped it off something else. But I called the owner and I told him, hey, your choke is busted. Do you want me to order another one? He said, how long will that take? I did a quick look. The fastest one that my 5 minutes of searching was able to find was approximately 3 or 4 days from now. I mean, it said 3 days, but I'm not going to do it on 3 days because usually I don't get my mail till it's well after the time when I'm not working anymore. So it's going to be the day after. And he said no. He will just take care of it his way. So I said okay. He'll bring it back to me at a later point in time. So I asked him if I should just order it, and he said, no, I'll just bring it back to you later. This is a guy who's never called me. He usually just brings it over, and it's usually the times when I'm not home, so I'll be sitting there, and I have cameras outside because, well, you probably should always have cameras outside. And he will knock, and then I'll have to go through my doorbell and tell him, hey, what's up? Are you home? No, that's why I'm using my doorbell. If you want to, you could leave it outside. What's the problem? He'll tell me. Then he'll take a picture of it in my driveway with the problem and message it to me with no words, just a picture. So he has my phone number, just doesn't use it. And yeah, the people you deal with, or I shouldn't say that, that's probably not the right term. The personalities you deal with when you work with a variety of customers or people that you work with. And okay, well, it's not going to be fun, but I suppose we should try to start it. Here we go. We're going to give this a try. I think it's on. Let's see. Yeah, it's on. Okay. Because it doesn't have a choke, we're going to give this thing a whole lot of primes. We want this carburetor to be well prepared to start delivering fuel. I'm probably going to want full throttle. I don't want any real restrictions because the restriction on the throttle end is going to limit the air and is going to make it so it's going to be a little harder to start anyway because of how carburetors work. So let's give this a pull. And if it doesn't work, oh, that doesn't feel good. You know what I did? I think when I put the screw on, when I put the cover back on, I turned the choke on. So that was easy enough to start. Means tomorrow probably I'll have to start it again. Can't quite tell. Let me work on that real quick. Got to put it back on. So let's give it a pull. It's not a full throttle because it was already on choke. I don't think that's going to be necessary. open my garage door before this becomes a problem. Okay, it's been sitting for a little bit of time. Hopefully it's not all smoky in here. It's a little bit, but hopefully not on camera. Other than that, that's about it. The fuel, like I said, appears to be decent. It was a little bit giving a little bit of a problem, but I think that was mainly just due to the fact that it hadn't been ran for a while. It was super cold. Like I said, it's like in the high 20s right now, and who knows when the last time it was ran. But other than that, it should be ready to go. If you are having a problem where you're looking around and you see just a whole bunch of fuel on the floor and you're not quite sure why, you look down, make sure that all the lines are connected. There's nothing special about these fuel lines. You can get them in Home Depot. They sell them in a kit. You can buy them online. It doesn't really matter. I do prefer the clear ones for the return. The black one is definitely better for the fuel delivery. That's just because they seem to last a little bit longer. So, but keep in mind, ethanol fuels will degrade your fuel line a whole lot faster. So if you're using ethanol fuel, then this is going to be a problem that you probably will run into eventually. Granted, any fuel eventually will cause this, but you're going to be running into it a whole lot more frequently with ethanol fuel. So, like I said, if you have the ability, get non-ethanol fuel for your machinery, especially with something like this where the fuel line is easily going to degrade and cause a whole lot of problems like this person has. So that's about it. I will catch you on the next video. If you have any questions about this, definitely let me know and leave a comment below. Put a thumbs up, that helps me a lot. I will catch you on the next video. Follow me on Small Engine 101 on Instagram, and see you later. Have a good night.